For me, in the first half, I just felt like there were some opportunities off the pick and roll I could have taken advantage of. I didn't, but it was still a 1-point game, and I think my confidence in my teammates during those stretches goes to ultimate high because I need them and they need me. But I also understand the gravity that I pull and also utilizing myself as I don't really like the word decoy at all, but being out there to be ready to make an impact when my number's called. We got guys that score at a very high level. I score at a very high level, but sometimes in playoff games it's not going to be like that. And, one thing that I always like to tell people is just go watch some of the games in the 80s and 90s and 2000s. I don't know how the NBA game has changed in terms of perspective that people see and want to see star players score a bunch of points and force a bunch of stuff. But, you look at some of the greatest teams, that have played and won championships, a lot of guys have been selfless and a lot of guys have been willing to, just read the game and give what the game needs. So if my job is to play defense that night and that's what I'm geared towards, and I feel like that's what my intention is to get us a win, and that's where it's going to be. It's not going to be, trying to delegate my offensive prowess to force myself into the game. It's going to come, man. I feel like I'm one of the most unguardable people in the world, just like, the rest of my peers feel. It's just the confidence. But in the playoffs, you don't have time to wallow in, the extra thoughts of offense. Defense wins championships, so.
Kyrie, with all you've accomplished in your career, what more do you have to show the world about Kyrie, the ball player? What motivates you? What continues to motivate you at this point in your career?
Are you talking about right now where we are, or just when
general.
I wake up every day?
Yeah, just in general. But basketball-wise, what more do you have to prove or show about you as a ball player?
I don't think it's so much about proving anything. I believe it's just putting the basketball game in perspective. I think Josh Hart had a tremendous quote where he talked about, people having 12-hour shifts and we get to go out there and play a game that we love. And, I think that was like the nail right on the head for a lot of us in the way we feel. That doesn't take away from our competitive spirit and what we want to accomplish as, legacy members of the NBA. A lot of us, and I'll say this for a lot of us peers, sometimes we forget that we're the top of the top. We have ascended here because of a lot of hard work. We've ascended here because we've sacrificed a lot of family time. We've ascended here because we've done little things in order to be great teammates and to be recognized as some of the most special, most talented players in the world. So that's one thing, that I feel like I could lay my hat on, is just being one of those people. But I think on the opposite side is just understanding that the next generation is watching, and I want them to have this game to appreciate as an art space and not just business. You should enjoy it. You should enjoy the competition. You should enjoy going against the best of the best. And I don't want to overspeak here, but for me personally, that's just where my focus has been. Getting up every day is looking at my kids, looking at my wife, looking at the kids that are still playing basketball. And it teaches you about teamwork. It teaches you about leadership. It teaches you about exercise. It teaches you about dieting. It teaches you about life. And that's why I picked up the basketball. It wasn't to be bombarded all the time wherever I go. I hate the celebrity worship. I hate the adultery. I hate all that stuff that comes with the extra nuances of being a, quote unquote famous person in the NBA. So again, it's just about leading the next generation and understanding that I got to stay poised through the chaos and hate out here. So that's really where my head lays.
We know Luke is dealing with a lot physically right now, and this wasn't one of those games where he got in a great shot-making groove. What did you think about his impact, in a game that wasn't kind of his typical flow?
What do you mean? Typical form? What do you mean? Just
like
34 and 8 and 9? Are you talking about that? Or
right. And like I said, it wasn't a game that he was able to dominate as a scorer. What do you think about his impact despite that?
I think he used his voice very well tonight, and you can tell he wanted to win. And that's all we need from Luka. We know he's gonna be who he is and attack, but for us, it's just continuing to feed him that energy that he can trust who he's around, and he can trust that when the ball leaves his hands that other good things are going to happen. Great players really feel like they have to initiate themselves at times in the beginning of the game or at the end of the game. I feel like he's figured that out to a certain degree, and it's up to us to continue to mold that greatness alongside him where, no matter if he scores a lot or not, our team is going to win. And that's where we're putting our best foot forward, is the energy towards that. You know, instead of looking at, oh man, Luka's not scoring a bunch of points. It's like, no, we have other guys that can contribute as well and want to contribute. And when it's Luka's time to take over, we allow him to take over. When it's my time to take over, it's my time to take over. PJ's time. So everybody gets a certain 2-minute span where if they make one shot, we're coming back to you. So that's the NBA playoffs. Get used to that. I know you're used to that, but that's where we feel most confident and comfortable is when it's our guy's time. We want to celebrate him and continue to feed him that confidence. So it's not just on Luka, it's on all of us.